Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the panel of the day. We're going to be discussing AI and work and verifiability and how we can improve contribution, authorship, authenticity, and how zero-knowledge proofs potentially can help in this. We do have experts on this panel, and we are going to scheme and discover what the future might hold for us. I would like to start with a round of introductions. We do have one microphone, so Ming, you have the microphone. Please start with name, title, why you're here, or then Humpty.
Hi everybody, my name is Humpty Calderon, and I am primarily a creator, but also a contributor to platforms and organizations that are building decentralized identity and reputation services.
Hello everyone, my name is Estevan. I'm leading an exploration team at StarkWare. What we're building is probably proof of concept, a bit of research, using our prover and reducing the developer barriers on StarkNet.
Hi everyone, my name is Ming Guo. I'm the co-founder of zkVM, where we develop maybe the only MIB32 zero-knowledge virtual machine, high-performance zero-knowledge virtual machine on the market called Xiron. We have a poster over there. And also, I also helped started this House of ZK verifying intelligence track. You're very nice to have you all here.
Hey everyone, great to be here. My name is Vignesh. I'm the general manager for Eigen Compute at Eigenlayer. Eigen Compute basically helps you give smart contract properties to Docker containers.
Thank you, everyone. And I'm Reka. I'm the director of marketing at Boundless protocol, which is the universal zero-knowledge protocol. Our first question and first conversation piece that I'd like to have with us is kind of discovering the best case scenario when AI and contributions that humans make in the world through technology is actually working as it should, as we dream about. So I would like all of you to say a short version of what the best case for that is and what properties the technology have with it.
Okay, I thought, yeah. Let me start. Well, we have already like maybe 2 years into this new like large language model boom cycle, and it's been a while that we also see like an explosion of like AI-based crypto, like new meme coins, or just AI coins. So if that's the only story, the question to ask is, where's the usage? What do you get out of this like AI coin, right? So in addition to Mimi, I'm actually pro Mimi, right? I think this is some phenomena expressed in the digital form that definitely has value, but it's just not very stable, very volatile. But the most important question is, what's the use case, right? So everyone's asking this, and obviously you have AI chats. You can generate images from text, but if you have to copy whatever data from your app into a chat box to generate whatever AI can generate, that's the problem, right? I think the future should be having AI blended into your app, blended into your life. And also, it needs to be secure, right? It needs to know very intimate information about you to serve you well or work well. But then, what about privacy? What about security? And those are problems I think technology like zero-knowledge proof and the infrastructure we're building around it, for example, like zkVM, can help. But we need to blend AI with, security technologies.
Vignesh, please.
So for me, the way I think about the best case scenario is over human history, basically intelligence has been very rare. Not rare, but it's a very valuable quantity. And what that means is that we only have people working on specific problems or intelligence applied to specific problems. And in the last 20 years, a lot of it's been to technology. And I think if you look at other spaces like space exploration or biology or these other deep things, we haven't necessarily seen the same rate of progress that we've seen with like iPhone development or like technology. And I think the best case scenario is that as you commoditize intelligence, that you see more and more progress in all of these other areas. And the ideal state is that human life overall significantly improves. And, you know, people live longer, they're healthier, we can explore the universe. And, you know, maybe we switch from a scarcity mindset of like, we have very few things to an abundance mindset. And that's kind of how I see it.
Very boundless mindset.
I think in an ideal scenario, AI really extends intelligence. It really extends human intelligence, and we have a kind of a symbiotic relationship with AI. I think that's where I think AI could shine, but if you want to have such a symbiotic relationship with AI, you need some essential properties. Privacy, you need to be able to extend your cognition to AI in a private way. You need to be able to do that in a verifiable way, in a reproducible way. So these are some properties that I think are important to have in AI, but in an ideal scenario, we don't see too much job displacement, we see more a symbiotic relationship, and it extends cognition the same way that a pen and paper would extend your brain when you do computation. So I think that's maybe a bit utopic. We don't have replacement, but we have extension.
So I think the question was, in the current state of AI, is it working? And in an ideal state, how would it work? Or, you know, what we would like to see. I want to carry on this idea of verifiability, but I also want to talk about it from the lens of a creator. I think it's interesting to see how AI has rapidly accelerated a lot of like creativity online, a lot of AI slop, and interestingly, people seem to enjoy that, which, you know, I think that for the purposes of that application, it's working for some people. However, there is still something to be said about the work that others create, take time to produce, you know, to hopefully create some impact in people's lives. A lot of this work is just being kind of swallowed up by these LLMs and reproduced and really providing no value back to these creators. One of the things that I would like to see is some way of like verifying where this data is coming from and providing some attribution back to the artists. And of course, if there's any way to monetize that attention, that would be something that I would personally like to see. When it comes to this verifiability of content, I think that there's a couple of different ideas that are currently being experimented with, but I think that it just needs to be something that's super simple at the point of creation, where someone can create content, whether that's video content or doing an illustration, and be able to stamp something that is provable and something that is that loops back to the individual, no matter how that information is harvested and used in the future.
In the context of, in the context of zero knowledge, since we're at a zero knowledge conference and side event, I'd like to explore, based on all of this best case scenarios, we do have verifiability, we can attest back to the creator, best case scenario is working and more human flourishing is on the way. How would zero knowledge proofs fit into this more at a technical level? What role can zero knowledge proofs play in the verifiability of AI and human contribution?
Yeah, I think one of the more important pieces that I personally like to see is more on the interoperability of this data, where there's the ability to share this and be able to reuse it and provide, again, some level of attribution throughout the way, throughout the lifetime of the lifetime value of this content.
So attribution.
I think for me it's remain privacy. That's where, I mean, at StarkWare we've been pioneering the work on Stark proofs, and I think Stark proofs are really essential in a world where the best use case of AI unfolds, where you can use Stark proofs at scale. They are quantum resistant, they are scalable, and that would allow to give essentially every to have inference without having to reveal the output or without having to reveal the weights of your model. So in that scenario, I feel like the role of zero knowledge proofs would be really to be able to preserve the privacy of the input, the model weight, and sometimes also the IP of the behind the the model that you're using. And I think here, and I'm a bit biased, I think Stark proofs are particularly suited for that.
Yes, I think I'll follow up with the talk about like AI slop. I think we're already into a stage of AI development that most of the data of the public data or the private data that you can get online has already been exhausted, right? This has been been the case for a while. And now everyone's trying to get to the maybe 10 trillion parameter kind of model, but where's the data? And I think there's a huge amount of data to be tapped. It's like real-time human interaction data. And those data, could be faked. And then you just have like more AI slop, right? I'm not even talking about the data will degrade your model. I'm talking about just real data, but kind of like trash data, right? Like fake data or data tried to manipulate for the purpose of manipulation. So I think what we have the opportunity from the Web3 decentralized movement technology can help is to do what we call like a individual-centric, I call them like POV data. So POV data is data that's collected from the individual point that's very authentic because there's no way you can manipulate that. And data can be, models trained on this data is very authentic. There's no kind of degradation. But in order for this to not being attacked or manipulated, you need hardcore, consensus and the guardrails, and these are computation acted on POV data that can be secured, authenticated, and in consensus with the zero knowledge proof technology. And while it's cheap, we would have it, the next generation data for AI.
So what you're saying is authenticity. So we did have attribution, privacy, authenticity. Vignesh, what's your take?
Yeah, my take is I think Ming brought up a lot of good points. One is that AI needs a lot of data in order to be useful, and that most of the public sources of data have been exhausted. I think with zero knowledge, what you have is an interesting place where you can maybe prove that you shared data with an AI model, but that the creator of the model didn't actually get access to your actual data source and couldn't kind of steal it. And then that lets you have an economy where you can kind of broker access to specific private data and have people train models or ingest it, but you don't lose the keys to your kingdom by sharing it. And I think that's a really powerful model because otherwise you can maybe sell your data once, but in this way you can sell your data many times. And then the second thing that zk does here is it helps you as the seller of the data prove certain attributes of the data before the sale, which I think makes it more valuable to the person buying it. And so I think that's a pretty powerful way to use zk plus data in AI.
What neither of you said, and I would like to add, is zero knowledge proofs can also help prove that you're paying for the most expensive model. Maybe imagine that in the next few years we'll even have even larger subscriptions to access vast amounts of computation through these AI models. Let's say I'm paying like $1,000 a month to access to all of this computation. The level of compute that they actually provide for me, right now we're just trusting that ChatGPT is actually doing the work that they say they do through my subscription, but it could also prove that they are doing the amount of compute, the complexity of compute, they use the model that I'm paying for every single answer that I'm asking, and it's not just creating the fluff and hallucinating with the easiest model that they have. So backwards towards the user, that's also a use case, which by the way, I think is an interesting business model as well, if any of you are interested in building towards that with zk, because it would be worth quite a bit as we scale the amount of work that we do with AI and rely on it for. I would like us to discuss a little bit more on, yes, zero knowledge proofs have all these properties. It does have attribution, privacy, authenticity. I think what you said is also more on the private sharing. can we talk a little bit more about zero knowledge proofs? Golden. We're all a fan of zero knowledge proofs. Is there a world where attestations or on-chain verification can also play a role in how human contribution can be coexisting with AI? And please, Vignesh, start.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that the way I see it is there's like two kind of like aspects to this. One is like people will probably have more and more of a desire for like kind of like authentic or like human things, like, you know, you want handcrafted pottery, right? And I think in that world, if we have something where we can use like the proof of personhood plus the zk that a person actually outputted this, then you can associate that with content or information or creation. That to me is almost the same as, you know, when you go buy something and it's like handcrafted. And so I think that there will be value and like desire for that, especially as like maybe AI creates, like we saw like in the Industrial Revolution, like people were able to build things like very quickly, but they lacked kind of that human element. And then I think that's where that'll really come in.
I think there's an urge for, that's better. There's an urge for, the operator of a blockchain to kind of like having all the data on-chain, right? But we all know from the era of like Bitcoin scaling and Ethereum scaling, that is unattainable. It's unattainable even today for very simple financial transaction data. The rules of this, I see every blockchain as its own universe, and the rules of this universe is very, very simple. And for this simple rules universe, the data is already unattainable. What about all the data like human generated for AI, right? So putting, first citizen data on chain on layer 1 is impossible. The solution, I think, is to learn from the universe, right? So our universe, the physical universe, only has 3 dimensions, right? The space is 3-dimensional. The 4th dimension is like time, but we actually have another big, sort of like a tesseract, which is your mind. Your mind have infinite dimensions you can tuck all your data into, right? We see a colorful world. We have thoughts, and they all have their own dimensions, so it's infinite, right? And we can do this with blockchains as well. So we can have very hard, maybe financial or commitment to financial transactions on layer 1. Those are very important. They need to be simple, stay simple. And we can have a roll-up, that's layer 2, to enforce the transactions for example, like DeFi or something like that. And those logics, you can have zero-knowledge proofs, for example, enabled by zk rollup, like we do zkVM enabled zk rollups. And for AI applications, you could tuck them into layer 3. And those needs to have consensus as well, but imagine you have your own app or your own group. You have consensus, but you don't need the 70 billion people on the planet to agree with you because it has nothing to do with them. So we have all kinds of specific consensus. They don't all need to be on layer 2 or layer 1, right? So dump everything on layer 1. Those are just trash, right? I know there are blobs. There, Bitcoin also has that. You can dump everything there, and they could say, oh, my data is on Bitcoin, right? But those are just trash. Those are not consensus data. So consensus data needs to be guarded, to be verified using technology like rollup or zkVM, and they don't need to be on layer 1. They can be on layer 2 or even layer 3 for your very specific group of individual-centric consensus. So you have all kinds of multidimensional consensus all over the place. So this is I think the kind of technology that zk zero-knowledge proof can work with the avalanche of data we have, and to help them build all kinds of consensus. So the world will be decentralized in consensus, authenticated, and privacy preserved. I see that's the future to deal with all the data we generated in the AI era, and also keep blockchain scalable and fast and cheap. All right.
Thank you.
I think blockchain bring two really interesting properties for this ideal case scenario where we have AI and human beings working well together. One of them is censorship resistant. You want anyone to be able to verify a proof on a blockchain, and liveliness. You want to be able to do that at any time. So I think this is the word where we would see on-chain verification of zero-knowledge proof thrive in the context of AI. I think when anyone is able to generate a proof at any time for a given AI model, that's where we would see the synergies between blockchain and AI grow. So that's my take on that one.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think crypto has worked for some time with this open public ledger where this information is available to anybody to look and kind of attest, without, an intermediary. However, it presents challenges. We've already seen some of the dangers of having your financial data just publicly available. There are many other reasons why having certain information, such as your identity, on-chain, publicly available is not ideal. But there's also other reasons why this is not the desired state. There are institutions who don't necessarily want their IP in a public ledger, but they do want to be able to interoperate. So to be able to do so with some sort of like private proof or some zk proofs on there, I think that opens up the space for other players to participate in the ecosystem without fear of losing the value of their data, or even more importantly, probably opening themselves up to danger.
In a sort of a closing, so zero-knowledge proofs do have more collaborative motives to do with on-chain attestations, for example. However, they can work synchronously, basically, is what the conclusion of this round was, this question. As our closing question, I would like to do a rapid-fire answer for 2026. And with everything that we've just said, zero-knowledge proofs and zkVMs and all the protocols for all of our works of the teams here and beyond that are still home are in a really good place for us to actually progress towards this best case scenario, be really prominent, and provide this technology for AI to work. Thanks, Ming. The question is what property of the zero knowledge space, or what main feature should we really nail down and focus on collaboratively, perhaps, in our own individual ways as teams, to push this most forward in 2026?
Yeah, I think this idea of privacy comes in vogue, every couple of months or years. I think that one thing that has been something favored, and I've seen it coming back in vogue, is this idea of like reputational data and how we can continue to create platforms or products that allow for us to share this information so that we can open up new opportunities on chain as well.
I think, I would say scalability at this stage. I feel like zero-knowledge proofs today, whether it's snarks or starks, they cannot handle the level of compute that we're seeing in AI model, in LLM models. So I think we need at least 100x improvement in the current snark or stark technology to be able to make that a reality.
It's a fair point.
Sorry, what was the closing question again?
All right, it's 2026. For all this best case scenario, what property of zk should we focus on collectively to really provide this technology for AI to reach best case scenario?
Oh, okay. So I think what we always striving for zero knowledge is I think it's still like performance is always the most pressing concern. So we're always trying to build a fast, cheap and fast. And also maybe in the feature-wise, I think right now we use zero-knowledge proof mostly for scaling. Like that's why you see like companies or projects called succinct. So succinctness, that's for scaling. And I think in the next era, next stage, we would want to build like privacy preserving zero knowledge proof, that the original meaning for zero knowledge, and of course maybe hardware accelerated compute proof generation infrastructure that will make this prevalent, accessible to every app, and make it really cheap, compared to what AI computers are already, in very dire, demand. Yeah, I think that's, my closing for, looking into the future of AI technology.
I think for me, the game changer is to look at a broader market. So right now, I think a lot of stuff makes sense to people in crypto and Web3. I think if you really want this to take off, you need it to be so that a Web 2 developer can come and in about an hour have something productive. Because right now I think using a lot of zkVMs, like taking a Web 2 app and trying to get it to run in there, it's very complicated. A lot of them will fail and it can take weeks.
Good point. Thanks for being short with the rapid fire answer. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. So 2026 is about ZK and privacy, so be excited. We're all at the forefront of that. Be public representatives for it. Thank you so much, my panelists, for being here and providing your answers and your wisdom. Enjoy the next one.